I made presents! Hi everyone, welcome to Talk and Chalk. I'm Beck. We are in the last week of school now, which is really, really exciting. I've had an amazing year with my team, so I decided I was going to make them gifts, and I'm replicating a gift idea that I used last year, doing it slightly different. But don't worry, I'm not doubling up on gifts. I had a different team this year, but I wanted to share it with you because it's super, super easy. It's really, really meaningful. And if you've got a lot of people to buy presents for, this is cost effective as well. So you can see I've got them here. They're mugs. It's very simple. And don't stress. If you're someone who doesn't draw, don't turn off. I'm going to show you how to do this really easily. So I go to Kmart and I look for the different mugs. And last year I got plain white, a little bit on the small side, which is why I went a bit bigger this year. I also got a couple of tall ones, which I've got an old one here. This is one that I made for a friend of mine last year, and it's been sitting here pretty much just because we keep missing each other and forgetting presents to give back to each other, but he's fine. He doesn't care. We're still friends. So this year I noticed that Kmart had some pink and blue mugs, and my kids love doing these for their teachers as well. So we just stock up on all of those. Last year I filled them with chocolates. So this year I think I'm going to fill them with chocolates and also maybe a nice pen or a notepad to go with it. So with these mugs though, you need to get the permanent Sharpies. So I don't want to use colour because I think the colour fades, and I personally like using black for different designs. So this is the thin one here, the fine point Sharpie that I use, and I also get a thicker one too. So that's the packet that I found them in, and again I got these from Kmart. Really, they should be paying me by now. So much that I think every teacher does. So this is it's still got quite a thin tip on there, but it just helps getting those thicker lines. And the double pack is good because I can push this one down and use it as a thicker texture, and then I've still got that one to back me up. So I'll just show you some of the designs I did, and this is why it's easy. So what I do is I usually go to Google and I type in that person's name and something associated with it. So, like Irish font or something. This year though, I kind of went with a more Dr. Seussy sort of feel. So I have another Beck on my team. So this is what I designed for her. So I've gone with a big letter for the main focus of the mug. So, if they're right-handed, they've got their coffee mug. There you go. I put on the bottom what year it is that it's from me, and I write hand wash. The instructions that I followed say that it's still okay to use a dishwasher, but I figure, don't risk it. And then what I do on the other side is so for this one, so have a look. It's literally just lines. So practice on a bit of paper if you want. I've been doing art since high school, so I find it a little easier to do it, but really it's just lines on here. It's just dots on here and then lines together. And then I just kept it simple for the lettering over there. And it looks effective. So, if you find something that you like online, if you go for, dots and stripes and things, they're always easy to draw. They're circles and lines, for crying out loud. And then this is where I did get a bit more detailed. So this was an apple I saw on Google Images that I really liked. It was in color. So this was brown and then green and then red. And all I did was I just copied the swirls to go with that one. She's an early career teacher, which is why I went with the apple for her. So I've got, this is Judy. So she's got a J there. I kind of wanted hers to look a bit like an elf sort of stocking. I've got a running joke with Judy that she is very, very Zen. She's our Aboriginal Education Officer, and I keep asking her, is there an Aboriginal word that means Zen? She hasn't found it yet for me, but she is the pure definition of it. So what I've done is I found a quote about being Zen. It says, "This is the Zen approach. Nothing is there to be done. There is nothing to do. One has just to be. Have a rest and be ordinary and be natural." And I have no idea who Osho is, but that's who said it. And that definitely encompasses her. So I thought that was a cool quote for her to have. And again, I just put the stuff on the bottom. Let's go with, and you can just see, again, stripes and dots. Stripes and dots, that's all it is. Lines and dots. Okay, this was Allison. And her A is a bit thicker than I intended it to be. So I just made the lettering a little bit bigger to match it. And then I used the quote from my other mug to go on this one because I have lots of laughs with Ali. So it says, "A day without laughter is a day wasted." I think that definitely suits her. I'm just going to swap these around. And this is, her name's Diana, but we call her Di. So again, stripes, dots, lines and dots, that's all it is. So it's Di. And then she hasn't had the best run with health in her family this year. And then the poor thing, her entire Christmas tree fell down, smashing all of her ornaments recently. So I looked up online protection symbol and this popped up. So I went, do you know what? I'm putting that on her mug because next year I would like her to have a much better year than what she had this year. Okay. This is my partner teacher. This is Karen. So she and Jude work together a lot, which is why I've made their names sort of match going down the side. And I kind of kept the stripes and dots similar. So you can see the dots here with the lines kind of match the dots there with the lines. Just so they could kind of have matching mugs. She likes unicorns, but when you draw a unicorn in black and white, it really looks boring. You need to have the rainbow mane and tail and everything. She also likes owls. So that's what I went with. I found a picture of a cute owl and I wanted something that was simple without much detail, just because of the curved surface that you do this on. So I found one that was a simple shape and it was just bumpy pretty much. And I just copied that design and put that one on there. So I'm not done yet. I've got a few others that I still need to make. So I'll be working on those over the weekend. But my kids, when my kids do them, I just make sure I've written down their name. I show them my mugs to remind them that, you know, it's big. You don't just write it little. And they do the same thing. So they'll put Mrs. Woods and Miss Hooker is my other child's teacher. And then on the other side, they'll draw a picture. So most of the time they draw a love heart. It's good for a teacher gift because even if you don't use it as a coffee or a tea mug, you can use it for pens and pencils or whatever. And again, just filling it with chocolates or lollies or stationery, whatever works for you is good. What you need to do though is after you've used the permanent textar to do your decorations on it, I leave it for an entire day to make sure that the ink is, you know, completely on there. And you need to then cook it in the oven. So you need to put it on the middle shelf. I always put baking paper underneath just because I don't want the ceramic to be touching my baking tray. So I put baking paper underneath and you need to preheat the oven to 180 degrees. I think I've got that right. I'm going to Google that because I don't want to give you the wrong temperature. Where's my phone? There's my phone. I'm going to Google that while I talk. So once the oven is preheated, obviously, that's when you put it in on the baking tray. I put the mug on the baking tray while the oven is preheating, and then the whole thing goes in together. Be very gentle putting it in all together because, you know, it's wobbly and it'll break easily on the tray. So you put it in and you cook it for half an hour. And what I do is once the half an hour is done, I turn the oven off and I leave the mug in there while the oven cools. Like not completely, it can still be a bit warm or whatever. And then I take it out and don't touch it. I let it completely cool in room temperature for as long as it needs. And usually it could take overnight, you know, depending, we're in Australia, so it could be a 40-degree day. Not today though. So, and I let it completely cool. When it's completely cooled, obviously that's when I make sure I touch it and I give it a very, very, very gentle wipe over. And I use I wipe over it gently with a baby wipe, only because I don't want to chuck it under the water straight away and I'm definitely not going to scrub it. So the baby wipe, I don't think it creates a coating or anything like that. I just have it because, you know, I've got a 20-month-old and there's baby wipes everywhere in the house. So I'm just typing into Google cook mug with Sharpie. There we go. That's the suggestion that's come up. And there's a website here called DIY Sharpie Mug. Oh, there's lots of examples on there. So if you want to go Google these ones, you can look at some examples. Oh, look at that one. See? Dots. Made with love. And it's like a little tea thing. That's so cute. I still prefer black to the colors though. I just don't trust the color to stay bright. Okay. Let it dry out. Bake it. This is 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Do you know why I love having a Google phone? 350 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. 180 degrees. Perfect. Okay, so I was right. 180 degrees in the oven. Cook it for half an hour. Take it out. Let it cool. Bob's your uncle. Okay. Too easy, guys. I hope that helps out. I know that wouldn't have helped out with any staff gifts unless you're going to do it really, really quickly before the end of term. So hopefully it helps out in other ways. Hi guys, I know you've just been watching my video about my mug gifts, but it's been a couple of days since I videoed that, and I've just finished, or almost finished, the presents that I'm making for my executive team, and I thought I'd better show you those as well, because even if you're not going to use them for a colleague gift, they might be handy for a friend gift. So the kitchen is a complete mess at the moment, but I've got an assembly line going here. I've made what do you call cookies in a jar. I think that's what they're called if you go to Google and type in cookies in a jar. So the idea being is that they're just the dry ingredients in a nice jar, layered, and then with a nice ribbon on top, and then all you do is you put a nice label on it saying what wet ingredients need to be added, like egg or milk or whatever it is. So I'm just going to flip and show you what I've done so far. Okay, so I went to the reject shop and I got a pack of 6 jars, and I think this was $8, so that was a good bargain. And then I've been putting them into their layers. So the bottom is 1 1/3 cups of self-raising flour. There's 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then this here is 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar, and then I've added Maltesers to the top. This recipe normally calls for M&Ms, but I love the Maltesers. So all you do is when you put them in, I use a funnel to get them in so that you can get that nice clean layer. And then when you get the brown sugar there, you can use a spoon or a spatula or whatever you can fit in there to squish it down, and that makes room for the Maltesers. And it also gives it that nice layered look. I've got this burlap ribbon that I'm going to wrap around it, and I've grabbed some of these little bows as well that I can stick on top or in front of the burlap ribbon as well. So again, this was from the reject shop, this burlap ribbon. I just like the burlap style, it's really cool. They were only $2.50 each. So, I mean, at the moment, all of this has come in at about, I think, total of $40, and I'm making 6 gifts there. Okay, so once I've put the ribbon on, I'm just going to print out some little labels that have the instructions. I'm going to call them Malteser cookies. I love these cookies, with the instructions that you need to, and I've got my little notes here, that you need to add, so you cream 125 grams of butter, you whisk 1 egg and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract together, and then it says to dump in the jar of ingredients, but I'm going to add one extra step in there where you mash up the Maltesers. So essentially you're using your Maltesers like choc chips. That's my kids playing in the background there. So I usually put them in a Clip-Lock bag and just get a rolling pin, smash, smash, smash till they're in small bits, and then that acts as your choc chips. So then you can just dump the rest of the jar into the bowl, mix all the ingredients together, and then you bake them for 180 degrees for 10 minutes. So that's the little label that I'll add onto it, as well as a nice card to go with the gift as well. Okay, so here they are finished with the burlap ribbon and some bows on the front there. I went back and just double checked how much I actually spent on this, because I didn't use all my ingredients. So I bought other things as well. So I spent $8 on the jars. I spent about $7.50 on the Maltesers, because I didn't end up using all of the ones that I bought, so I calculated it to about $7.50. I spent about $2 worth on the ribbon. I didn't even get through 1 roll. I spent about $1.50's worth on self-raising flour, and about $2 worth on the brown sugar, and the salt I already had in the cupboard for it was 1/2 teaspoon. So it worked out to $21 total. So that's $3.50 each they cost. So that does sound a bit cheap, but you know what? When you've got a lot of people to buy for, it's definitely the thought that counts, and these are definitely yummy. The Malteser cookies are my favourite. So that's just another gift idea if you want to do that as well, and I'll go take this back now to the normal ending. Thank you for watching. I will have another video before the end of term. Have no idea what that topic's going to be at the moment, but I hope to have you there with me, whatever I end up doing. If you haven't clicked to subscribe, I'm going to put my button here, and I'll put another link to a video at the top there, and any of my other links are in the description below. See you later, guys.